behind screens, it's a plot to drop the IQ. Fighting amongst each other over rumors that don't like you. Prefer us trapped in melancholy with the wood wands of holly. Suggestions that obliterate to camouflage the folly. Attempted mental robbery, executed sloppily. The hypocrisy, this mockery, and walk the talk with me. Put the hands up to touch the Akasha, cause you know deep down there's something bigger than your wallet.
Oh, sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Hopefully you can hear me well. Actually, I'm coming in a bit hot. Hopefully that's a little better. If you haven't listened to the rest of the verse of that song that just plays at the intro for Middle Path, and you're sorely missing out. The end of Middle Path, the full song plays, and there's 2 verses before we get to this chunk that you just heard. And then there's more after that. It says, everyone's got a gift. Everyone's got a light. They want you to forget that shit so they can dim the bright. And on into further goodness. It is exciting. This song is amazing. And everything that unknown MC Johnny Larson creates is amazing. That song especially included. And you'll find every song at the end of Rogueways and Middle Path is a little different. We just got a whole new batch in rotation. Johnny just sent me a bunch of new songs. So those are all in there. So you will never have heard many of them. So if you're excited about the music on Middle Path and Rogueways, you'll be very excited to check those out. The first new one was this last episode on Tuesday. The Winning Report had the first song of the new batch out at the end of that one. And tonight, of course, we're going to do this Golden Feather song that is always at the beginning and end of every Middle Path episode. Every Middle Path episode also is always for supporters only. So if you're here in the Rockfin chat, you get to stay for the whole entire time. If you're over there in the YouTube, you won't get the whole show. Sadly, if you're not a supporter on Rockfin, you won't get to have your questions answered. Have your oracle tell you the things, whatever your issue is, whatever your question is, whether you want to be vague about it or not, totally up to you. You can be outright open and blunt, or you can just say, what about me? I have a question in mind. Tell me the answer. We can do it that way too. So you don't have to always, put all your business out there. And you get to get some stuff. So I love doing these lightning oracle rounds with you guys in those ways. I'm not using tarot tonight. I don't know. That's just what I was led to do. So we've got plenty of books to do some bibliomancy, get our answers that way. If you've done this with me before, you know how beautifully it can work for you. And you know that my 2 favorite books with which to do this, not just because they're my books that I wrote, but because they actually are written for these purposes exactly, are my own channeled books, The Key of Transformational Healing, tiny little dense ass nuggets of channeled information, so beautiful, and All Endings Are Beginnings, also beautiful, a little bit longer, but they're meant to be kind of one-off, so each page is its own little entry, which is awesome too. Also channeled, just in a different way. The key is one complete and total work, whereas All Endings Are Beginnings are all just their own individual. They're not necessarily related, except that they're all in the book together, and they're all inspirational and insightful. So we're going to use those and other books tonight. We always use The Living Wisdom of the Tao by Wayne Dyer. My good friend Brett sent me one time selected poems of Rumi, the Gnostic Young, the I Ching, the specific I Ching book is the one I have. It both has the explanation of all of the hexagrams and much, much more in it, although we just use the hexagram section when we're doing this. And of course, our Dictionary of Symbols, one of my favorite books. Many of you have asked me, what is that book? What is the symbol book? I want it. It is the best symbol book I've ever seen. And it just jumped off a shelf at me one day in a used bookstore. I love going to used bookstores for this reason, because you can just wander and let yourself be drawn to a certain area and just grab a book and what is this treasure? And often those are the most profound books that I get, which is very awesome. Angie A in the Rockfin chat. Happy Thursday back at you. It is nice to see you here. And I do have a few things I wanted to share with you guys before we jump in, before we say goodbye to the non-supporters in YouTube. And if you want to be a supporter, it's easy. Just click over to Rockfin and grab yourself a subscription. And your subscription gets you access to everybody on Rockfin. There are hundreds of creators, there are hundreds of alternative content creators, things that you would love if you love my show. And those are all free to you too if you grab the memberships. You get everybody's in one easy price, $10 a month. It's simple. I love it. I love Rockfin. I was just talking about this. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself because sometimes I don't know what I said to you guys and what I said to just other people in life. But I am impressed. On Rockfin, it has a much smaller section of people that have access to, right? Compared to YouTube, for example, that has maybe millions, billions. I don't even fucking know how many people use YouTube. But comparatively, Rockfin's audience, total possible audience, is much smaller, right? Obviously. And yet on Rockfin, I grew very quickly and I'm past 10,000 within less than a year time, right? I think. I actually don't remember when I started Rockfin, so don't quote me on that. But in my mind, that's really bad at space time. It seems like less than a year. And on YouTube, where I've been for what, over like 13 years, I still have yet to be, I think I'm just past 4,000. I don't even know. It doesn't even matter because it's very obviously fake. So heavily suppressed for sure. But I love Rockfin for many reasons. That's one of them, is it lets me grow organically. Thank God someone does. And like I said, one price for everybody's like, it's just smart. So here I am pretending to show you something that I didn't even hit share screen yet. But let me actually share screen and show you these things. So obviously the site is always where you should go. It's the hub for everything, rogueways.org. And there's really so much that I do, and you know that. And so especially if you're here today for the supporter only content, you definitely know I have courses on Thinkific you can link to from here. I do make orgone medicine bags, crystal and stone jewelry, all of them blessed, all of them powerful spiritual portals for you to enhance your practice, your presence. You can get those here through the shop button or through this powerful tools button. They go to the same spot. You can read the testimonials of other people. If you're still on the fence about whether or not you should seek spiritual support, the testimonials can be very helpful. You can just send me a little message through the connect button or the connect tab. Send me a little email. Let me know what's going on with you. Say hi, send some love, or whatever you'd like to do. Also, you can always click over through gear, the gear tab. And I think there's another flash sale happening today on TeePublic. Again, I don't control TeePublic. That I have my designs there, and you can get them on the most comfortable sweatshirts in the world. They're seriously amazing. T-shirts, bags, all kinds of things, V-necks, whatever you like. Any of these Rogue Ways and Middle Path inspired and related designs. But I don't control the sales. And right now they're having a flash sale. I think it's one more day. Yeah, there's 5 hours left on this. So if you're watching it live and you've been waiting for a sale, here's your sale. Instead of $22, for example, for a t-shirt, it goes down to $14. So it's a significant sale. That's for everything. I just have it set to t-shirt default for some reason. But if you clicked on any of these, like hoodies, let's say, all of those are also instead of 47, 36, etc. I kind of want this exact heather gray soul balance hoodie. It says travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first. Of course, that's my ending tagline. So you can get it on any color you like, but I kind of like the heather, kind of like the vintage heather look or the charcoal heather. Anyway, those are all available and they're on sale right now for another 5 hours. I just wanted to remind you of some of those things. And of course, you can also find me now on Substack. And especially if you want to get the channeled messages that I've been sharing more frequently now because I was guided to do so. Substack is one good way to do that. And rogue.locals.com is the other way to do that. But every few days tends to be every other day or so, there's a channeled message coming through, and some are super dense, just like the key of transformational healing. And some are a little bit easier, lighter, and more sort of everyday, but all of them are profound and beautiful. And so if you just like to have that connection, this is a great place to both support me and my work and what I do, and also receive some of those messages for you. So it's an awesome place to go if you haven't yet become a supporter on Substack. It'd be a cool thing to do if you're into that sort of thing. Of course, sad news today that we knew for sure was going to happen. There was very little chance that this was ever not going to happen. In fact, anyone paying attention would have called this years ago. As soon as they knew that there was a COVID-19 vaccine, alleged vaccine, they would have guessed that this would happen. But now it has happened. Now we know it's happened. We knew it was going to happen. Now we know it's happened. So the CDC advisory group voted to add COVID-19 shot to child vaccination schedules. This means that they're advising each of the states to do so, and they will. But more importantly, it will allow for the manufacturers of these products to never face any legal ramifications. They already had a huge amount of protection, but I guess there was some sliver of a chance that somebody could sue them for something, and now they can't because there's some clause somewhere that says once something's on the childhood vaccination schedule, no one can be sued for it extra specially. I guess that's how it goes. Because of that clause, that's why people were saying this was going to happen years ago. Um, I didn't know that much detail about these processes myself, but whenever people said this, I believed that they were right, and here they have been right. And so you can see how gleefully happy these blood sucking psychopaths are to ensure that your children are much more likely to be exceptionally harmed in various ways. So again, this is reason 10 billion and 65,000, that's a number, for you to take your children out of public schools if you haven't yet. I don't know, and I was just talking about this as well, where people will say things like, "Oh, well, it must be nice to not have to like, you know, worry about whatever because you don't have kids or something." And I'm like, "No, I get that you have to fucking grasp onto anything that you can because this you've made choices or I get that sometimes people feel like they don't have a choice. I'm saying if I had a child and it came down to it, we would be in my van living in the woods somewhere. Like that nobody would ever inject my child with this. And no one would ever inject me with it. And if I had to leave a job to do that, then I would leave a job to do that. And then if that meant that I would be much harder for me to feed my child, then it would be much harder for me to feed my child and we would survive anyway because that's how I roll. I don't have and maybe it's because if you've read one of my other not channeled but just, reflective life pieces that I wrote recently on Substack and or if you've just followed me long enough and I've had a very exceptionally challenging life in many ways and maybe that's why I'm like, "Oh, I've like been at the very very bottom." So like I don't mind not being where I'm even at now, which is pretty comfortable, but by every single metric I live in poverty. And I don't mind going down further if that's what it took. I would choose that if that's what it took. That's my point. So when people are like, "Oh, it must be nice," and I'm like, "No, maybe it must be nice to be willing to sacrifice your child on the altar of something to keep whatever you think you have right now." I mean, what do you have? What I have is my soul. This house, this job, this car, this whatever else. Like those things don't really matter to me in the end. So I know it's really hard. That doesn't make it easy, but it's still a choice. And you have a choice and you always will have a choice. And I, for one, will never lie to you about that. I will always highlight the choice that you have, even when you may feel that it is not a good choice. No, and it's unfair and fuck these people for doing it and they're evil and all of that. Yes. And we can't change it. This is now reality. So maybe you do have to pull your kid out of school. Maybe it does make life really, really hard. I don't know. I just know what I would do and what I wouldn't do. And I know the lengths I'd go to do those things. And there are no limits to the lengths I would go to keep my child free from this. So the other option though, is that a bunch of parents finally like just get their shit together and just say, no, none of us are doing that and go fuck yourself. We're going to come to school every day and we're going to sit with our child in the seat or something. I don't know. Like there could definitely be effective mass actions that make it very easy to get exemptions for anybody anywhere at any time or who knows what, right? So I'm not saying it's like you either take your kid out of school or you get the COVID vaccine for them. That's not necessarily at all true. I'm just highlighting the various levels of choices we have in response to this in case some people hadn't thought it through yet because it's quick, happened quickly. It happened without that much attention. I want to say like maybe Tucker Carlson is one of the only shows on the mainstream that even mentioned it. Not that I like watch every show on the mainstream to know, but I feel like that's true. If you know something different, let me know. But yeah, it's hard. It's hard to make hard decisions. In fact, that's very interesting. I just channeled today a little message about making hard choices. So I didn't even think about how that might connect to this until right this moment, but it's a good synchronicity there. So yeah, some choices are hard and I'm very sorry for any of us who have to make hard choices. And I also just I've learned enough in my life to know that literally all that matters is my soul. Jobs don't matter, houses don't matter. Food will always exist. We can always find food. I've also learned that. Travis, welcome to the Rockfin chat. Nice to see you. Alex in the Rockfin chat. Nice to see you. Lindsay in the Rockfin chat. Nice to see you. Jasmine here tonight. Nice to see you, Jasmine. Thank you so much for the support and the tip. I always appreciate that, Jasmine. Jasmine says, I've been trying to buy the key of transformational healing for my girlfriend for her birthday, but I can't check out because your site isn't finding my address. Wow, that's really annoying. So I wonder how many sales I've missed out on because of that glitch. I don't know how you can get around that issue, but I'm going to make a note to myself to go try to find out what that even means. And if you would email me your address so I could try to see if it's just you, or I wonder, like, that could literally be so many people have done this and no one. If you ever go to my site and something like this happens, please tell me, because this is the type of shit that they do to just fuck with me and deprive me of many sales. I seriously, it's been a while now where I'm like, it's not usually this slow with orders. That's fucked up. Address malfunction. No, I don't know why, but I will try to look. It's very frustrating. Sorry you're having that problem as well. Yes, being out of country is one way that it won't find your address. So if you're ever out of country, I can arrange for you to just send me payment some other way. I just don't have a way to set up shipping internationally in a way that actually doesn't completely screw me out of a lot of money. So I just don't. Yeah, Travis makes a good point. Shouldn't liability be increased for a company or employees if society deems an injection so necessary that it is compulsory for our most vulnerable population? Yeah, children. Children. They go after children and they say, once we say children can have it, now no one can ever be sued. Like, wait, it's not exactly backwards. Don't they love inversion? Lindsay Smith says, Mama and Papa Bears are going to crack some skulls. I hope. I think you're right. I think enough people will maybe, because remember when we talked about right when they approved the vaccine for the youngest, I don't even remember their ages, but I'm going to say like 5 months to 12 years or something insane. Back whenever that happened, not that long ago, we were talking on the show about how very few people were doing it. Very few people were doing it, both left and right. Very few were doing it, more on the left, but very little still. I think the highest we got to on the left was like 7%. I'd like to revisit those numbers now and see like if they've gone up, but I would expect with that little initial reaction that it wouldn't have even gone up much past that total. Even if it went up to like 12%, that's very low. So this is a fucking crazy, if they're going to push this and that many people were already resistant to it and now they're going to feel, betrayed in this way to be forced into it, it might wake a lot more people up. And that's my hope. That's my hope. But boy, if you want to find out, I just said boy unironically. Oh boy. Whew. Who dog? If you want to find out how just really black pilled the most cynical people are. And this is what I've talked to you guys about this before too with the black pilling thing. And I know a lot of you understand my point of view, but I've been black pilled. And my whole thing about black pilled is like, it's a stage you go through. Like you go to the black pill stage where you're like, whoa, every fucking thing is corrupt. Every fucking person is corrupt. Every aspect of our society was designed to be this corrupt. All of it was designed to destroy us from every angle. And the black pill, you can have that part without being black pilled. But the black pill then says, and so there's no fucking point. There's no way out. There's nothing you can do. You're fucked here. All you could do, if anything, is just sort of shield yourself a little bit and hide. Like that's the full black pill experience. And it is a stage. You're meant to go through that. That's the abyss, right? We all go through the abyss. This is the dark night of the soul. And we say, holy shit, this is really how bad it is. Like psychopathic, baby blood eating, drinking, child raping psychopaths run the world, right? Now you're in the black pill zone. Every piece of news that comes out, you're like, fake. Fuck it. None of this is real. Every single politician, even if they seem kind of cool, you're like, nope, bought and sold, gonna fuck us, right? It's a worthy place to be. It's a valuable experience to have. And then you come out the other side of it and you go, oh, wait, like not literally every person in Hollywood, not literally every movie, not literally every show, not literally every song, not literally, even you find out some of the artists who were perhaps more satanic at some point realized that it wasn't cool and went the other way. And then they do like exposés and stuff. You start seeing like it's not actually fully controlled. Right? Some politicians actually are, and if they get far enough, they're probably gonna get shot, and we all know, we get it, yes. But, like, not all of them, not everything. So then you come out the other side, and now, you go beyond that, most often, you get to the white pill, where you're like, "Oh, actually, this is a spiritual battle. There's a lot of evil, but there's a lot of good, and the good is powerful, and I'm on the side of the good too, and I can be the good, and me being the good is the antidote to all the evil." Okay, so my whole point and then you can go to rainbow pill, which is also beautiful, which is just seeing all of it at once. Everybody's perspective all the time, being able to jump in and out of all of the different pills and, like, understand and not fight with people to divide yourself further because you're so convinced you have the right answer. That's where you can go into retardation, and a lot of people are there most of the time. Most people have been trained that that's the best place to be, and it's the safest place to be is to be really sure of yourself and then act very sure of yourself and say things that are absolutely true all of the time. So if you want to find out how cynical the black pill, if you want to find out just how right everyone but you is, go try and say anything about stuff like this. I was just posting yesterday for a bit. I was like, hey, these comment sections are still open, and this is our chance to just say, like, no, we don't want you to murder our children or force our children to be murdered by these types of things that we know for sure one of the side effects is death. And that there's, they don't transmit diseases or they don't even transmit this. These things don't prevent transmission anyway, blah, blah, blah. So I was sharing that and people were like, oh, yeah, you think that's going to fucking help, you naive bitch? I'm like, Jesus Christ. No, I don't. I think it makes my voice just, I like to say things. I like to have my voice registered. I know for sure that does good for me to say it out loud. I don't have control if anyone else reads it or not or cares that I said it or not, and I never have. Like, I don't give a shit about that. But these people come out when you try to do anything at all. They're like, "Oh, you fucking think you're fucking" It's amazing. It is amazing. Leading me to say yesterday, if one more black-pilled retard comes and spews their cynicism on me, expecting me to absorb it because I'm naive, when actually I've gone beyond the black pill, into the white pill, into the rainbow pill, I'm gonna shoot a motherfucker. I'm not actually gonna shoot a motherfucker for that, but that's how I feel when people are that audacious to pretend that they know better than me. I'm like, "Oh, no, trust me. If you're in the black pill phase still, you probably don't." Sorry, not sorry. There are some things some people do actually have more experience in, and that's one I probably do have more experience than you. But anyways, it's funny. So go try that sometime. Just be like, "Hey, will you sign my petition?" And watch all the people be like, "Bah, never! It will never help you, fool!" Like, oh, okay. So sorry to trigger your sensitive state. So sorry you're so broken, shattered inside. So in other news, uh, Liz Truss quits. This is the UK premier, whatever, PM. I don't know what the fuck, MP, whatever whatever their people are called, their president lady. She quit. She's the shortest MP in the world. Not shortest, she's the shortest serving. She might also be the shortest, but I'm not sure. Shortest serving prime minister, if that's what they're called, in history ever. 45 days in office, that's it. How many is that this year? It's just 2 maybe this year, but like a lot recently. That they've gone through, right? They just keep losing people. They keep switching it up More and more people are gonna be so I don't know what's gonna happen, and as people have been pointing out all day, you know, it's one thing to just be like a politician and just like play your role and be like, "I'm so woke and I say the right things and do what I'm told." And it's another thing to try to be the public facing alleged leader of a country during a complete and total cultural and economic collapse by design. So maybe that's part of it. But what I said is, I don't know, maybe they couldn't like maybe the demon that left the queen when the queen died like tried to get into her and it just like wouldn't fit. Like she just hasn't like quite embraced baby eating deeply enough into her soul, you know, like she was just pretending that she was into baby eating just to like get ahead, but she didn't really like feel it, you know. We need you to have more flair, Truss. We need you to get into it more. So maybe that's my working theory on why Liz Truss quit. But we'll see. Sarah Fox says, I agree. Let's ditch the pills. Yeah, the pill talk is pretty fucking annoying. And it's the same with everything, honestly. This is what Johnny and I were talking about. Like, it doesn't actually matter what you're talking about. No matter what you say, there will be an entire group of people that come out and are like, "Oh, you fucking did it better, did it better, better." And I'm like, I mean, are you like really fucking amazing that you know everything? Like, why are you attacking the things that make you uncomfortable? Why? Why? Oh, Lindsay Smith's got some stats for her. She says only under 10% have had one shot for children under 13, and 75% of the population is not getting boosters of children. Even one shot is not good. But yeah, the second shot is supposedly like the death shot. So that's good at least. Yeah, Illuminati says it's all relative, like the truthers who think every celebrity is trans. Yeah, that got old too. Or the people who think like literally everything is fake and green screened and like created in a Hollywood basement. It's like, well, a lot of it is, but like not literally everything. It's really hard to talk to people when that's where they're at. 'Cause you're like, I mean, nothing else in the universe is literally everything, but this is literally everything. I mean, there's one thing that's literally everything, but if we call it God or source or whatever, but that's it. Nothing else is literally everything. I just got this MPPM thing fucked up the other day with Canadian people too. It's dyslexia, you know. All right. I also have this story I want to share before we start doing the things. And you guys in the chat, get your questions ready, or you're volunteering to, you know, have a message ready. But the rest of us here, still in the public sphere, we've got some people over in YouTube. Whoops. So these mattress toppers, maybe you have some. This isn't actually what I meant to. Which one of these is the one I want to show you? It doesn't really matter. But you know, these types of things, these foam mattress toppers. So we have a couple inch thick, I should say, mattress topper on our bed, right? It doesn't really matter. I've had it on in my van on the mattress in there, the mattress in here. Like I love them. As soon as I discovered them, I was like, this is amazing. Everybody needs to have these. They're so fucking comfortable. They're that space foam shit. So they like, as soon as you get off them, they like full back up to full capacity and you lay down, it like perfectly supports you in every fucking angle. I'm like, damn, these things are rad. So about, I don't know, like months ago, 6 months, 8 months, like again, bad with space time, but something like that. I started having really bad pain at night. And I always have some pain and whatever. But this is a different pain. And it was in what I perceive to be my hips, which isn't actually my hips. And I know that, but that's just where I feel it. And it's actually these wings that come off of one of my vertebrae and they're broke and it's very painful and blah, blah, blah. It's been there for a long time. It won't heal. That's just how it is. But it was worse. It was worse than ever. And it was like, especially at night, and it would be so painful that it would wake me up and wake me up and wake me up. And by like a couple weeks ago, it was like, fuck, I'm waking up like 14 fucking times a night with this fucking pain in my goddamn hips. I already wake up and shift a lot just before this problem, but this is like an additional thing waking me up and fucking my sleep up. So I'm like, God damn it. And every time I have a pain, personally for me, because of my back and whatever, I have to ask myself, like, is this one forever? Because some of them come and they're forever, and some of them come and then they heal and they go. And so every time I'm like, fuck, is this another forever pain? Is this another chronic pain I'm going to deal with? And that gets me really emotionally fucked up. And I go through a whole thing. Okay, so my hips are hurting really bad and I am waking up more and more. It's getting harder and harder. Up a couple weeks ago, it's like, oh my God, it's like 14 times a night. And then like last week, it was literally as soon as I laid down. I hadn't even fallen asleep yet and it was already starting. And I was like, I can't fucking live like this. And I'm not going on painkillers and like whatever. Everyone has their things. I know a bunch of people are going to be like, try this. I've tried probably everything and I'm good. Thank you for your love and concern. So I asked my dream wisdom, right? This is the dream seeding thing. If you've been in Rogue, we've talked about it a bit. If you followed me or Middle Path, especially, you've heard some of the really cool experiments that we've done, some of the really cool answers you get. But I did some dream seeding and I asked my dream wisdom, please help me find a way to help my pain be less at night so I can sleep better. Like, just tell me, what can I do? I'm already doing so fucking much. Like, what can I do? Please tell me something. And that night I had this dream that I was like cutting cushions off of the top part of it wasn't my bed actually, but you know how dreams are, they're symbolic. So it was actually like ottomans. I was like cutting off the top cushion so that it would just be like the hard part under that. And I was doing it over and over again. And I was doing it like very like precisely. I got super into it. And that was just so I'd remember, you know, that's why the dream made me do it over and over again and get really into it. So I'd remember doing it because otherwise it's a very mundane, boring dream. I might not remember. But I woke up in the morning and I was like, was that the fucking answer to my question? Because you're supposed to assume that whatever the dream is that you remember most intensely is the answer. I was like, it must be. And I was like, what does that mean? I was like, does that mean I have to take the cushion off the bed? And I'm like, there's no way taking this fucking space foam off of my bed and sleeping on a harder surface is going to take away my pain, right? I took it off anyway because I'm trusting. I'm like, okay, I trust you. I've learned that. I've learned to do what I'm told. And I take the fucking topper off. And much to Johnny's chagrin, he is very upset now because we can never put this thing back on because the first fucking night we took it off and I slept on my firm mattress without a fucking foam topper, I had zero pain. Not just less pain, not just no fucking pain at all in what I perceived to be my hips. Other pain, whatever, still there. It's always been there. It's never going anywhere. This was gone. I just had to share that with you, not only because I want everyone out there, even in the free section on YouTube, especially you guys, to know that dream seeding works. This is like the 15th time that I've tried it and it's been amazing and that anyone can do it. But also, and if you want to watch a whole episode on dream seeding, there's a free episode of Rogue Ways with Makia Clerc. It's not that long ago. You can find that and it was awesome. But also because if you have any pain while you're sleeping at night, maybe try taking this off if you use these. I'm not fucking around. Like maybe how many people out there are in pain because this actually, I mean, I do have these broken parts on my spine or whatever, but that's incredible. That's incredible. So if you have some pain of any kind, just try it. Go back to sleeping just on your normal mattress and see what happens. I just wanted to share that with y'all. I do use the 174 hertz tone, and I especially use it when I am Brown's gassing every day. And if you don't already know, on my favorite things tab on the site over here, the very first link is AquaCure, which has helped all of my symptoms, PTSD, all of my pains, all of my chronic pain, and my chronic fucking, what the fuck is it called? My immune system badness. Jesus Christ. Clearly it's not doing so well in this moment. Autoimmune disorder, Hashimoto's. And that's this AquaCure. And if you click here and use the Rogue Ways code at checkout, you get a significant discount and you support the show. And you get to put your 174 hertz tone into the water you drink and into the fucking shit you are breathing in when you're using the machine. It's fucking rad. So yes, you're absolutely right. I use that and many, many other tones because you can choose anything from 0 to 1,000 and it's fucking awesome. This machine everyone should have. And please use Rogue Ways code when you get yours. But yes, One more thing before we go to just the crew here and start answering some questions, and that is that the Orionid meteor shower apparently is happening right now, and I didn't know that. Um, and apparently it's hard for most of us to see, as you can kind of see by this graphic here, because the sun will have almost been rising. Will have almost been. I don't think I nailed that tense. When we go out to see it, you have to go in the early morning, I believe, to see it. And so the sunlight is sort of starting to come back. And so it's a little bit, you know, not as bright for us. We'd have to be in a different area, I think, like more south towards the equator and the Western hemisphere to see it more clearly. But you can still see it tonight and over the next few days, I think. It's peaking tonight. Oh, yeah, it can go all the way to November 22nd, it says, but for some reason it's peaking tonight. Oh, because we're right in the middle right now. Yeah. So, yeah, and especially, of course, if you go out with no moon. So, what is it, a new moon right now? I have not paid attention to the moon in quite some time. So maybe that's also another reason why they're saying tonight would be good. But I just want to say that because I didn't know that. So I like to know those things so I have a chance to go see them. And now we're going to stop sharing screen and we're going to get to the Oracle. So if you would like to ask a question or just receive a message, just put it in the chat in Rockfin, say yes or me or the question you have or anything, and we'll get some messages out. And oh, and also I'm going to share that Yeti slang, which just so happens to be Johnny says he had some pains go away with the introduction of the mattress topper. So both can be true. And shouldn't it be that we both need different things? You know, the best thing, if you're rich and if you want to buy me this, I will accept your generous gift. So someday my goal is to have this, is to have the king bed. We literally don't even have anywhere in our house where that would fit. But if we do, when we have our next house, when we are fantastically rich and abundant and our huge room can fit a king bed, we're going to get a king bed that has the two-sided, like old people raise up your head and your legs, or so we can both have different positioning, heating, cooling. His side can have the mattress topper and mine cannot. Perfect. We need that. It's like $6,000, I think. But anyways, if you're over there in YouTube, we love you so much. You can just so easily go over to rockfin.com/rogueways and join us tonight for this and every other exclusive member only episode. And we would love that. And otherwise, we will see you next time. Goodbye. Usually I link